Hey, it's Takia with Releve and Brown Girls Do Ballet, and I'm so excited that you've decided to join us for yet another episode. As you know, at Releve, we introduce you to change makers in the dance industry and beyond, and today's special guest is one such person. You notice I'm wearing purple? That's purple in the background. In honor of today's special guest, Jeremy McQueen of the Black Iris Project. If you are not familiar with the Black Iris Project, I hope that you get familiar with it and support today. Jeremy McQueen is not only a talented choreographer, director, creative, just all around amazing human being, but he is on a mission to make sure that the stories of Black people are told through the art of dance. And so without further ado, Jeremy McQueen.
I started dancing when I was about 8 years old. I'm originally from San Diego, California, where I was born and raised, and my mom took me to see the national touring production of the Phantom of the Opera, which I always tell my students is like the Hamilton of my generation, dating myself. But we got these nosebleed seats because that's all my mother could honestly afford on the last row of the balcony in this huge 3,000 seat theater. And we were so high up that we had the opportunity to rent binoculars. And so we rented those binoculars and I had those things practically glued to my face the entire time. From the moment the curtain went up, I loved everything about the experience, from the plush red seats that we sat in, to the lighting, the scenery, the costumes, the singing, the dancing. All of it gave me chills in ways that I had never experienced before in my life. And after that performance, I looked at my mom and I said, I want more of this. I didn't know that I could make a living as an artist. I just knew that I wanted that experience more and more, whether it be playing an instrument in the orchestra pit or pushing a set piece around backstage. I just knew that that place felt like home for me. And so thankfully, my parents made tons of financial sacrifices and investments in putting me in dance and music and theater classes, really just anything that I wanted to try. My parents grew up pretty poor in Montgomery, Alabama, with very large families. And when they got married after college and decided to live the California dream and try something different, they vowed that they would expose their child to all the opportunities and the things that they didn't have an opportunity to experience. And I'm just so grateful and so blessed for them providing me so many opportunities to explore, to try, to create, and to really kind of define for myself who I am and who I want to be as a Black man in society. I started working professionally actually in theater at 15 years old. I was always that super driven, focused kid. And as soon as I found that there was a regional theater in San Diego that would hire kids to work during the summer, I was like, count me in. I want to audition. I want to do it all the time. So I pretty much started auditioning and working and making a small paycheck, getting to do what I loved. And that was the biggest blessing in the world. But education has always been a cornerstone in my family. My parents both went to Alabama State University. They went on to get their master's, and my mom has been an educator for over 40 years now in the public school system. And it was always very much a necessity that the arts and academics share center stage. So I went to Fordham University, where I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance through a really unique program with the Albanese American Dance Theater. And from there, I went back into the grind of auditioning for pretty much any Broadway show or dance company that remotely sparked my interest or lit my fire the same way that Phantom of the Opera did. In 2012, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was actually performing in Utah, a performance of In the Heights, and she was getting ready to come out to our opening night performance, and my mom told me, I have a little something I need to tell you. And that's when she told me that she had been undergoing chemotherapy treatments for months and had lost all of her hair and all of these different things. And that experience really, really shook me up. My mom has been such a rock in my life, providing so many opportunities and so much support to me, so selflessly, giving to this desire and interest that I've had in the arts. And this idea of her struggling and going through this really crazy experience by herself just really showed me the beauty and the amazing strength that she has and that so many Black women have had to have throughout history. And so when I came back to New York, there was an application due for the Joffrey Ballet's Choreographers of Color Award. And as part of that proposal, you have to kind of outline the type of ballet that you would create. I just so happened to run into this painting by Georgia O'Keeffe entitled Black Iris 3, which really resonated with me and felt like the essence of not just my mother, but a number of other Black women in my life who have helped raise me. And so I decided to create a classical ballet in tribute to them. I got the award in 2013. Black Iris Project came to life in 2016 as a greater mission to create ballets that reflect our histories and our culture, something that I didn't see enough of as a kid and I still don't see enough of today. The first big ballet that we created with the Black Iris Project was Mediva, which is the story of Nelson Mandela's life. I stumbled upon a really incredible piece of music by a Black classical composer named Carmen Moore, and one of the biggest things about the Black Iris Project was that I wanted to not only put Black dancers on stage telling Black stories, but I wanted to bring together a team of Black creatives, which I often didn't get to experience in both my dance worlds and my theater worlds, where we get to see a Black lighting designer and a Black scenic designer, Black costume designer. And so Mediva was one of the first ballets that we put together. It's a 22-minute ballet that outlines Nelson Mandela's life from his birth to his death in a very storybook fashion. It's always been really important to me that our conversations through movement are ones that we can share with young people as well as adults, so that people can all come to the table and learn a little bit more about these historians or these experiences and be able to take that information and go and have further conversations about the topics that our ballets address. With the Black Iris Project, we've always been very forward-thinking and pushing the boundaries of how we see and represent classical and contemporary ballet. Wild is an original ballet inspired by Maurice Sendak classic children's novel, Where the Wild Things Are, and also the voices of so many Black and Brown youth that have grown up in the juvenile justice system. Wild initially started out as a collaboration with Nashville Ballet, and I was paired with a composer named Morgan, who is a Nashville native that lives in LA, and we were creating original music and wondering what this ballet could be. And I was always so fascinated by the young people that I got to work with as a teacher in the public school system, as a guest artist, and wanting to really help amplify their voices and their stories. Especially right now, I feel like we often don't respect or hear young people the way that they want to share their stories and be heard. And so over the course of this next year, I'm working with and interviewing a number of young men just to capture the essence of their stories and their experiences and being able to share their amazing triumphant stories through movement. The second part of Wild, which is titled Wild Act 1, is now streaming on Vimeo on demand. You can go to our website, blackIrisproject.org/wild, to learn more about the film and to gather the link to watch it. It's been an incredible 5-year journey creating the Black Iris Project, but in order for us to continue to grow, support is instrumental. A lot of times you look at companies such as Dance Theater of Harlem and Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and you think about the rich legacies that they have and how much cultural significance they have to our communities and how they uplift and empower people. But a lot of times I don't think we really think about just what it was really like in the instrumental beginning years to get that thing off the ground. And I always tell people, if you're not helping us, emerging artists who are trying to represent 21st century right here, right now, we won't have the ability to become an Alvin Ailey or an Arthur Mitchell. So its support is absolutely crucial to our being and being able to help us survive and thrive and grow to one day become such a fine institution like those two. To support the Black Iris Project, you can go to blackIrisproject.org/support to make a donation.